Good morning or afternoon, everyone. Today we'll explore how small and mid-sized financial institutions can harness open-source AI tools to drive growth and efficiency. As leaders, you're tasked with innovating under tight budgets and strict regulations. We'll show how open-source AI offers a strategic advantage, from cutting costs to improving risk management. By the end, you'll understand key considerations and see real examples of open-source AI delivering value in finance. This is our roadmap for the discussion. We'll start with strategic considerations. Why even look at open-source AI? Then compare it with proprietary options to give you a balanced view. We'll highlight some leading tools and their real-world applications in finance, so you get a tangible sense of what's out there. We'll address challenges, skills, security, etc., because let's be honest, there are hurdles, but they can be overcome. Finally, we'll discuss how HiGTM can support you through this journey. Please feel free to ask questions along the way, or we'll have time at the end. Open source AI has emerged as a game changer for financial SMEs. First, cost. These tools are free to use, which immediately saves on hefty software licenses and allows you to scale usage without escalating costs. Second, flexibility. With open source, you own the code. You can tweak models to fit your exact needs, and you're not locked into a single vendor's ecosystem. That independence is strategic. 77% of financial firms cite less vendor lock-in as a major benefit of open source. Third, innovation. Many breakthroughs in AI, from deep learning models to new algorithms, are happening in open source. You get rapid access to the latest techniques and a global community of developers. Finally, these tools scale. They're used by big tech and banks, so performance is enterprise grade. In sum, open source AI can help you do more with less and do it faster, which is a compelling proposition for any CEO or CFO in finance. Diving deeper into cost, open source AI removes licensing from the equation. For example, instead of paying millions for a proprietary fraud detection software, you could build a solution in-house with open libraries. We've seen clients save 50–80% over 5 years. This frees up budget to invest elsewhere, like hiring a data scientist or upgrading your servers. Also, total cost of ownership stays low. You're using standard hardware, maybe cloud VMs. There's no expensive proprietary hardware or mandatory upgrades. And you often find ample documentation and community help for free, reducing dependency on vendor consultants. Another subtle benefit, with proprietary suites, you often pay for a bundle of features even if you only use a few. Open source lets you pick components a la carte, so you're not overpaying for unnecessary bells and whistles. And because you aren't tied to a vendor, you maintain bargaining power. If you need enterprise support or cloud hosting for an open source tool, there are multiple service providers who can compete, keeping prices honest. That financial flexibility is key for SMEs managing tight margins. Security and compliance are top of mind for all of you. Open source might seem risky, code is public, but that transparency can enhance security. Your teams, or third-party auditors, can inspect the code for any security weaknesses or backdoors, which you cannot do with proprietary software. When an issue is found, the community often responds swiftly. For example, when a vulnerability in an open-source library is discovered, patches are usually issued in days, not weeks. Of course, you need processes to apply those patches. We recommend treating open-source AI components with the same rigor as any in-house code. Do regular security scans and updates. On compliance, the advantage is you can modify open source to meet your compliance needs. Need an extra logging feature to satisfy SEC guidelines? You can add it. Want to enforce data anonymization for GDPR? You have full control to implement it right into the workflow. In short, you don't have to ask a vendor to comply. You ensure it yourself, which can actually lead to a higher compliance standard. That said, you must put strong governance around these tools. Restrict access, encrypt sensitive data, and monitor usage. With HiGTM's help, many SMEs set up an open-source AI environment that passes their IT security audits with flying colors. Now let's talk scalability. One concern might be, can these free tools handle our volume? The answer is yes. These are industrial-strength engines. TensorFlow, for instance, is open source and is what powers Google's own AI services under the hood, processing billions of data points daily. Financial firms like JP Morgan and Capital One use open source AI libraries at scale. So, you'd be leveraging battle-tested technology. Moreover, open source integrates exceptionally well with cloud computing. If you're on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, there are managed services for things like Kubernetes and Docker that let you deploy these tools widely. Need more power? Spin up more cloud instances. The tools will distribute the workload. We've seen an SME payment processor use an open source model to score transactions. As their volume spiked, they scaled out on the cloud with zero downtime or loss of performance, processing thousands of transactions per second. And performance is about scale, and it's also about speed. These frameworks utilize GPUs and advanced optimizations to crunch data efficiently, which is crucial for real-time use cases, like fraud detection under 100 ms. Looking ahead, because you're not locked in, you can adopt new hardware or optimizations easily, e.g., move to a new GPU model or even specialized AI chips, without waiting for a vendor's support. The key message: open source AI will scale as your business scales, protecting your ability to grow. Another practical concern: how do we fit these new AI tools into our existing IT puzzle? We have legacy systems, core banking platforms. It's complex. The good news is open source is built on open standards, meaning it plays well with others. These tools typically provide REST APIs or libraries in common languages, so your core system can send data to a model and get results back without needing to be on the same platform. One successful pattern is the microservices approach. Essentially, treat your AI model as a separate service. For example, a bank kept their COBOL core intact but would call out to a Python-based scoring API, running a scikit-learn model whenever a loan application was processed. This decoupling made integration much easier and risk-free to the core system. Also, there are plenty of integration technologies in the open-source realm: Kafka for streaming data, Airflow for orchestrating batch jobs, etc., which help shuttle data between old and new systems reliably. We also find that many enterprise software providers know customers use open source, so they offer hooks. For instance, your data warehouse or CRM might allow Python scripts or have connectors for AI platforms. During implementation, a thoughtful architecture, which HiGTM can help design, will ensure your open-source AI solution slots into your existing processes. Often we start in parallel. Run the AI model shadow alongside the legacy process to validate results, then gradually merge it into the production workflow. It's an evolutionary approach that ensures no disruption to your day-to-day operations. To be balanced, let's stack open source against proprietary options. Open source AI shines in cost, we've covered that, and flexibility. You can mold it to your business. There's also a massive community. If you have a question or problem, likely someone on Stack Overflow has an answer. No lock-in, which we've noted is strategically important. And innovation is fast. Open source libraries often implement new research within weeks, keeping you on the cutting edge. On the flip side, you do need technical talent to implement and maintain these tools. There's no 1-800 help desk that comes with free software, although you can get vendors like us to support you. It puts more responsibility on your IT team to manage security and reliability, which is doable, but it's a shift if you're used to vendor-managed solutions. Now, proprietary AI solutions. Think of big-name analytics or AI platforms. They offer more hand-holding. They might come with industry templates, dedicated support lines, and formal SLAs, which can be reassuring. However, that comfort comes at a premium cost and often a multi-year contract. Customizations may be limited. You might find yourself changing your business process to fit the software rather than vice versa. And you're on their timeline for feature updates. If there's a feature you need, you might wait a year for the next release, whereas in open source you or the community could add it sooner. There's also the risk of outgrowing a proprietary system and then facing a painful migration. Many SMEs start with a vendor tool, but later feel locked in as prices increase. There isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. It depends on your specific situation. Some clients use a blend, For instance, using open-source algorithms, but a proprietary user interface for analysts, or vice versa. Our role at HIGTM is to help you weigh these factors and choose a strategy that maximizes value and minimizes risk. Let's look at a few real examples to ground this discussion. First, a mid-tier bank, not one of the giants, about $10 billion in assets, was using a commercial fraud detection service that charged them steep fees and yielded a lot of false alarms. With guidance, they built their own model using open-source TensorFlow and scikit-learn. Outcome? They saved about $500,000 annually on fees, and tuning the model to their data reduced false positives by 20%. Fewer legitimate transactions were flagged, meaning happier customers and less manual review for their team. Second, a fintech lender faced a classic challenge: evaluating borrowers with sparse credit history, new grads, immigrants. They turned to open-source H2O AutoML, which churned through various algorithms to find the best predictor using alternate data, like utility payments, rent data. The result was a 15% increase in loan approvals to those segments, without uptick in defaults, effectively growing their market. Importantly, they leveraged open-source explainability tools to ensure they could explain those AI decisions to regulators and consumers, maintaining trust. Our third case, a small asset manager needed faster, more granular risk assessments. They used Python libraries, NumPy, PyTorch, to create a daily risk model that previously a big vendor tool delivered weekly. This open-source solution improved accuracy. They could incorporate more data sources, like live market feeds, and drastically sped up reporting. It also cost them almost nothing beyond computing power and some developer time, versus the ongoing fees to a risk software vendor. These cases show that with open source, SMEs achieve tangible improvements: cost reduction, performance gains, and even new capabilities, all while keeping in line with regulatory expectations. Adopting open source AI is immensely beneficial, but it's not push-button easy. We've identified common challenges and how to tackle them. Skills. You might not have Python or ML gurus on staff. The fix is to invest in your people. Even a couple of weeks of training can upskill an IT analyst to start working with AI libraries. You can also strategically hire 1 or 2 experienced practitioners. Meanwhile, AutoML tools can cover a lot of ground automatically, so you don't need a dozen PhDs to get a decent model. Security. Yes, you are taking on direct responsibility, but with a solid IT policy, treating open source components like you treat any software, patch, monitor, defend, you can mitigate risks. We recommend automating security scans for dependencies and sticking to popular libraries that are actively maintained and reviewed. For instance, PyTorch releases frequent security stability updates, which we help clients stay on top of. Integration. It can be a heavy lift, but break it down. Use APIs and microservices as glue. Often, wrapping a model behind a REST API and calling it is far simpler than trying to embed code into a legacy system. We often start with a small pilot alongside the main system to prove it out. Maintenance. Unlike a vendor solution, you don't get a quarterly update automatically. You manage the lifecycle. Setting up an internal AI analytics team, or at least assigning clear ownership, is crucial. Additionally, modern MLOps, with tools like MLflow or Jenkins for CI/CD, can automate retraining models and deploying updates, reducing manual effort. And remember, you can always get support from the community or hire firms for support contracts on critical open-source software. Red Hat's model in Linux, for example. The bottom line? None of these challenges are showstoppers. They are manageable with planning and the right help. And HiGTM has playbooks to address each one. Finally, a bit about how HiGTM can help you achieve all this. We act as your strategic partner from day one. First, we'll work with your leadership to map out where AI can make the biggest difference in your business. Maybe it's automating credit risk analysis, or improving fraud detection, or even enhancing customer insights. We prioritize these in a roadmap that aligns with your business goals and capacity. Then our experts get hands-on to implement the solutions. We bring architects and data scientists who have done open-source deployments in banks and fintechs. They will ensure the solutions are robust, secure, and compliant. We incorporate best practices. For instance, encryption, audit logs, role-based access, right into the design. Importantly, as we implement, we are training your team. Think of it as on-the-job upskilling. Your IT and analytics folks work side by side with us, so they learn how everything works. We provide workshops, documentation, and support until they're comfortable taking the reins. Post-implementation, we don't just vanish. We offer ongoing support contracts scaled to an SME's needs. That could mean a quarterly check-in on model performance, or a help desk for your engineers if they run into a snag, whatever makes sense. And because HiGTM stays at the forefront of AI in finance, we're continuously researching and contributing thought leadership. We will proactively advise you on new developments. Example: if a new open-source tool emerges that could further cut your costs, or a new regulatory guideline is coming that affects your AI, we'll alert you and help adapt accordingly. Our goal is not just to deliver a one-time project, but to equip your organization to leverage AI as a continuous capability. With HiGTM as your guide, adopting open-source AI becomes far less intimidating and much more impactful. Thank you for your attention. We've covered a lot, from cost and tech details to strategy and culture. I'm sure you have questions or want to dive deeper on certain points. Let's open the floor for that. Also, as a next step, we invite you to consider a pilot project or even a workshop with our team. This is a no-obligation way to see open-source AI in action for your specific context. We can come in, spend a day with your key people, and identify a concrete opportunity and how to execute it. It's a great way to kick the tires on these concepts in a safe, low-cost manner. Our contact details are on the screen. Feel free to reach out to schedule a consultation or with any follow-up questions. We at HiGTM are excited to help you harness open-source AI to propel your business forward. Now, I welcome any questions.